Hey guys, what's good? Triple J Boxing. Just watched Tszyu versus Bakhram Murtazaliev. And, wow. Did not expect that, guys. For those of you who watch the channel, I thought Tim was going to win, and I said either decision or possibly a late knockout win. Because I felt like Murtazaliev, he is very tough, and he showed that in his last fight. But that's also the reason why I thought he was going to lose. Not that he was tough, but the fact that he was getting hit so much against Jack Kulke, Golden Jack, and he was 39 years old, Jack. So I thought, if he's getting tagged up this much, what is Tszyu going to do to him, right? So that's why I was thinking that. And I was going off of his resume, and his resume was not that good, right? But to be honest, the resume thing was not, like, that's not to say, like, I had to pick a winner, obviously, and I picked Tim, but I feel like with the resume thing, it's not that you can just, like, on paper his resume was bad, but that doesn't mean his potential was, like, way higher than who he's fighting. It's just because you're not fighting good guys doesn't mean you're not good yourself, right? He just didn't have those opponents. So, I mean, that disadvantage going into the fight there could be totally dispelled, because maybe he is on Tim's level, which he was. It's just we never seen that. So that's why I thought, I said the resume was kind of not good, and his performance against Jack Kulke was pretty bad. Even though he won, not to say it was bad, but his defense, he was getting hit too much, and I just think I couldn't see him taking that much shots from a way better boxer in Tszyu, who's younger and hungrier. But then again, he said, and I didn't know this going into the fight, that he was going through Ramadan and he was very drained during that Jack fight, and he fought just on heart to win that fight, he said. Whereas in this fight, going into this fight, he was 100%, he wasn't drained. And I'm like I said, I'm not trying to backtrack my decision, but I mean, obviously he wasn't lying. Look at the way he performed. Not to say he can't improve, but yeah, guys. So the reason why I thought Bakhram wasn't going to win is just because the resume wasn't good, and his performance against his step-up fight, his best opponent, he didn't look that great. And totally changed it around. He belongs on the level. And obviously that was impressive. That was impressive. And I wouldn't say it was totally shocking. It was a surprise to me, though, just the way he got it done. Now, like I said, I didn't think that Bakhram didn't have a chance. I didn't have time to make a full video on him. And I was going to do a bunch of training videos on him. I just didn't have time. So a lot of the videos that came up with before the fight were focusing more on Tszyu. But it's not like I didn't think Bakhram didn't have a chance. I thought if he was going to do it, though, he wasn't going to do it like this. Like, I would like to let you guys know, did you guys have Bakhram winning this quickly in round 3 like this? For those big Bakhram Murtazaliev fans, did you foresee this? Or just fans in general, did you see this? Because I did not. I thought if Bakhram was going to win, it was going to be either decision or I could see maybe a late knockout. But even then, I did not picture him not getting a knockout at all on Tim. But I could see maybe a decision and being a close, tough fight, or maybe a fight that he's just... Because I know he threw a lot of punches. He was active and definitely possessed decent power. And I think his activity with his combinations could definitely win rounds. Because even though, like I said, he looked bad defensively in his last fight, he still, offensively, his combinations are still very good snap and powerful combinations. So he's definitely a decent puncher. And then obviously all his other fights before the Jack Kulke fight were against tomato cans, but he looked impressive, obviously, right? But they were against tomato cans. But so you definitely got to put Bakhram at the top of the list now. He, like, with the Crawfords, the Madramovs, The Virgil Ortiz's. You gotta put him in that top list now. And the list is pretty competitive at the top now. Oh yeah, you got Sebastian Findora and Bohacek as well, Xander Zayas. But yeah, if you ask me, I think the weakest links at 154 would be if Errol Spence moves up there, which his next fight's supposed to be. Errol Spence is probably the weakest link. Errol Spence and Findora are probably the two weakest links at 154, guys. That's my opinion on it. But Bakhram Murtazaliev, I think he definitely would deserve a fight with a Crawford, an Ortiz, a Madrimov. To me, I would want to see him versus an Ortiz. That would be just a good stylistic matchup, him versus Ortiz. I feel like Madrimov and Crawford are still... I would have to favor them over Murtazaliev, but I mean, Virgil Ortiz versus Bakhram, that could go either way. Bohacek would be a good fight. Will they put Xander Zayas up there? I don't know. Maybe they don't want to take that risk yet. But yeah, I think that you gotta put him in the top 3 right now. I'm not even joking. I think Terence Crawford, or at least top 5. But yeah, Terence Crawford and Madrimov, I feel like are the two best guys at 154. And then I feel like Virgil Ortiz, Bohacek, and Murtazaliev. I think they're all kind of tied there. So that would be my top 5 guys. Tszyu falls out of that list now. And it's kind of a shame. I feel bad for him. I like his personality, his temperament. He took that Findora loss really well. And it's a shame he has 2 losses in a row now, which is a shame. And he started off the fight really good. Like, not really good, but he started off the fight good against Bakhram. Like, he was landing good, powerful right hands that were noticeably having an effect on Bakhram. Like, you could tell the power of Tszyu was getting Bakhram's attention. And the problem is, though, he got caught with that left hook. And it reminded me of Devin Haney. He couldn't stop the left hook. It was pretty much like Devin Haney. He just couldn't stop the left hook. And it was weird, though, because at the start of the fight, Tim was holding up his hands, protecting the left hook. He had his hand up high. But then as the round 1 went on, in round 2 and round 3, I think even like 3/4 through round 1, he started to let his hand down. And he started walking Bakhram down even more, kind of just walking with his hands down. I think he got overconfident. I think he underestimated him. And it was in the back of my head that he was going to underestimate him, because it was easy to underestimate this guy. His resume was trash, and his one step up against Jack Koke, who was his only really good opponent, he got hit a lot. So it was easy to underestimate this guy. And I just thought that Tszyu learned his lesson from Findora, because he thought Findora was going to be a walk in the park, because he was supposed to fight Keith Thurman. And then they said, no, what? You're going to fight Findora, this very tall guy that you can easily just punish him to the body with your powerful shot. So he thought Findora was going to be a walk in the park. That cut happened. It didn't go as planned. So that's why I thought maybe he would learn his lesson there, not to underestimate people. And I had a feeling, though, he still might, just because, like I said, Bakhram's resume was trash. And I think he did. I think he underestimated him. He started walking him down too early in the fight. He didn't care about his defense halfway through round 1 already. His hands were sort of going low. And it's not like he was letting his hands go low because he was getting hit with, like, body shots and he was already compromised. He was, I think, overconfident in walking him down that he didn't care about his defense no more. And in round 2, he got hit with the left hook. And now he had another problem now. Not only... so he went from underestimating Bakhram to, now I'm concussed and I don't have my legs and my body motor skills aren't as good now because I've been compromised by that big left hook. And then he never fully recovered. Just like you could say Devin Haney never recovered after that first left hook. But obviously Tszyu handles losses way better than Devin Haney. So I think he can bounce back from this, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to bounce back from this. He was having success. He does have power, so he can come back. And like I said, it looked like it was going to be one of those fights that was going to be fight of the year, the way it started, because Tszyu was still landing big shots on Bakhram, and it's not like Bakhram was totally eating them. You could see the effect they were having on Bakhram, but Bakhram's super tough, and he landed that counter left hook, and that was like, Tszyu never fully recovered. He didn't know how to clinch. He didn't know how to use his legs, because that's not how he fights, and his motor skills weren't there anymore. He just stylistically, defensively, and probably had a concussion. Everything went wrong for Tszyu, and he just didn't have the skills in the tool bag like someone who has good movement with good legs or good defense, or good clinching skills. He just didn't have those because he relies on just toughness, walking forward and throwing shots and standing right in front of you when he shouldn't. And he was popping right up from the knockdowns way too quickly, which some fighters do that because they want to show, like, they don't want to be on the ground too long. It's like a ego thing, right? It's a pride thing. You want to get up right away off the knockdown, but that can be not as smart, though, because you're getting up on shaky legs. You're not taking the full 8 count to gather yourself. So just everything that could go wrong went wrong for Tszyu. He's still young, though. He's not super old, so he can come back from this. But I guarantee you he's not going to underestimate anyone anymore after this. And no one is going to underestimate Bakhram anymore. And I feel like Bakhram Murtazaliev, the fights are only going to get tougher for him because I feel like people like Terence Crawford, people like Madrimov, and I'm not saying those guys don't take anyone lightly. They know how to turn it on no matter who you are. I'm not saying those guys would underestimate, especially Terence and like Madrimov. I think they're professional enough and they're conscious enough to know that everybody's dangerous. So I don't see those guys underestimating Bakhram even before this, but I think even more so, everyone's going to be ready now for Bakhram Murtazaliev. They're not going to take him lightly no more after this big win. So it's going to be tougher for Bakhram because now everyone knows he's a top guy and they're going to train like, no, this guy don't have a shitty resume anymore. He just destroyed Tszyu. So it's kind of like the way Francis Ngannou, he had a lot of success against Tyson Fury, and no one expected that, but then Anthony Joshua knew he had to train hard now, and look what happened to Francis Ngannou. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not, because Bakhram is he's a boxer, and Francis Ngannou isn't. But you know what I'm trying to say, guys? They're not going to take him lightly anymore. They're not going to think he was the weakest link in the division now. Because Tszyu, I guarantee you, in the back of his head, he thought that this guy didn't belong in the ring with him. I guarantee you that. Even though he was training hard. So yeah, guys, Bakhram just showed the left hook was money. The counter shots. Like, Tszyu was tailor-made for what happened that night, for that fight. Like, Tszyu, he didn't clinch, he didn't use his legs, even when he was hurt. He just kept on walking forward. And Murtazaliev just had to time him with the left hook because the hand was down. If you look at Tszyu after he got hurt, and even before he got hurt, like I said, he was overconfident. He didn't have the hand up high no more. Now, after he did get hurt, he did kind of have it high up. But then as he gathers himself a little bit and he started gaining a little bit more confidence back, he recovered a little bit and he started walking forward and started landing some decent shots on Bakhram. He started to get desperate and he started to drop his hand again. And I seen it coming. The left hook was open. The right hand was landing as well. I mean, Tszyu's got to go back to the drawing board and he's got to look at himself in the mirror and be like, no, I can't underestimate these guys no more. I can't just be walking forward like the way I was. Maybe he caught him cold too. Like I said, maybe everything went wrong for Tim. Maybe it would have been a competitive fight if it did go longer. I think it would have been. But the thing is, he got caught cold. He overlooked him. He got too aggressive. He didn't worry about defense. He never recovered from that big left hook. and just everything went wrong for him. And he can definitely improve, and he can work on the things. I think he's going to go back, and I think he can come back. As for Devin Haney, like I said, it was similar to the way Devin Haney lost. He couldn't stop the left hook. I feel like Devin Haney has a harder chance of coming back because he hasn't accepted the loss. Whereas I feel like Tim clearly accepted the loss. He looked like a deer in the headlights, Tim, after he got dropped. He looked like a deer in the headlights. They called Tszyu the soul taker. His soul was being taken from Bakhram. Almost, like, not fully completely, because they threw in the towel, but his soul was getting taken slowly. Bakhram was. He was the soul taker in this fight. And shout out to one of my subscribers. He said, watch out for this guy. He had him winning the fight. And gotta say, like, good for you for picking it. And it's not like I said, I wasn't shocked. I was shocked by the way he did it. Knocking him out in 3 rounds. Let me know if you thought he was going to do that, because I did not see him winning like that if he was going to win. So that, I would say that was more surprising, not the win itself. Because like I said, just because you have a bad resume doesn't mean you don't belong on the level. It just means like you haven't got to proving it yet. And he proved it tonight, you know what I mean? And he did have an excuse for his last performance. He said the Ramadan, he was drained. And now it makes sense. Maybe he was. But everything went right for him. Everything went wrong for Tszyu. It is kind of a shame because it looked like it was going to become a really good fight of the year type of fight. I really wanted it to go on longer, but then I was thinking to myself, nah, you can't let Tszyu keep on taking this kind of punishment. You gotta worry about his health. I know we're fans and we like to see that, and the crowd wants it to continue, but I mean, he just kept on getting dropped. So it would have been good if it kept on going on, but you know, Tszyu just couldn't recover from that first left hook. He never fully recovered. And yeah, guys, Bakhram Murtazaliev, he's at the top of the division now, in my opinion, with Terrence, with Madrimov. Those would be my top 3. I mean, Virgil Ortiz, obviously, and Bohachuk. I guess you could put them all as the number 3, tied for number 3. I have Terrence and Madrimov 1 and 2, though. You got Xander Zayas, you got Fedora, and Errol Spence. And like I said, I think Errol Spence and Fedora are the 2 weakest in the division. So yeah, guys, big win for him. A lot of big things to come for him. Pretty much the whole boxing world has flipped now in this division. So much opportunities for him now. Big money fights. It'll be interesting if Crawford would want to fight him, or if Crawford, for that matter, if he's just even gonna fight at 154 anymore, or is he just gonna fight Canelo or bust, or does he want to shut up Teofimo? I don't know, but I mean, Crawford's getting pretty old now, and definitely Murtazaliev could put up a fight against Crawford. But the thing is, Crawford's not like a Tszyu. Crawford knows how to use footwork. He knows how to use distance. He's smart defensively. His timing is very good. He's powerful as well. He's quick. I mean, I don't see Bakhram beating a Crawford or even a Madrimov. But I mean, his activity, and it's not to say he don't have skills. He got skills. But I think his activity and his toughness will definitely make it a fight against those top guys like a Crawford, I think. But I feel like those guys can kind of figure him out more. So, yeah, the only guys I see really beating him in the division definitively, like where I could say on clearly who I could pick a winner, I would say Crawford and Madrimov. I'd have to favor them. But all those other guys, like I said, the Ortiz, the Bohachuk, the Xander Zayas, the Sebastian Fedoras, the Errol Spences, I give Murtazaliev a chance against all these guys, to be honest. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. It was kind of anticlimactic. It only lasted 3 rounds. It was a shame, but you got to protect the fighter. They threw in the towel, Tszyu. He's got to go back to the drawing board and learn from this. And Bakhram, his confidence is going to be an all-time high. And he's got to tell himself, if I'm going to be drained because of Ramadan, I just shouldn't fight then. I don't care how much money, because you cannot be drained against a Terence Crawford or a Madrimov. I think Madrimov he's Muslim probably too, so he'll probably have to go through Ramadan as well. But if you're fighting a Terence Crawford or a Virgil Ortiz and you're drained, he's got to know not to do that, right? Because look at the performance here. It was very good. And look at the performance in his last fight against Jack Kulke. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't think he could beat Tszyu. And if that's the reason he was drained from Ramadan, he's got to tell himself, I can't, even if the money's there, I can't fight if I'm going to be drained, you know what I mean? Hopefully he'll learn his lesson there. But yeah, guys, very good performance by Bakhram. He picked his shots. He hurt Tszyu, and he never let him breathe after that. And he threw a lot of punches from the get-go, the double jab, the jab, hooks, power shots. He was using offense to keep Tszyu kind of at bay, but Tszyu underestimated him. He underestimated him. He tried to pressure and walk forward, and he forgot about defense, and he paid for it. So, yeah, guys, good win by Bakhram, and hopefully Tszyu can bounce back with a tune-up because he's good for boxing. And like I said, hopefully he can learn from this. And yeah, guys, the Triple J Boxing. Thanks for watching. Take care.